Ambassador to the U.S., Victor Smith, with me here on the Pulse. We appreciate your time and your company. I'd like to start with the briefing you received. You tell us that currently Sedina Tamakloe is in U.S. detention, but where exactly?
You're not going to get a close part.
We'll go later.
Hello?
Hello, sir. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now, loud and clear.
Hello?
Okay, whilst we work the lines, you're still watching the Pulse. Please stay with us. We'll be right back after this quick turn. I'm told we worked the lines now, and I appreciate your time here on the Pulse. Let's try one more time. I was just asking you that I've just been going through the statement you put out. You tell us that Sedina Tamakloe is being detained by U.S. Marshals at a detention center. Can you tell us exactly where this center is?
No, thank you very much.
Looking to level up your life and business game? Welcome to the #1 podcast for business and self-development, Connected Minds Podcast. Join our host, Derek Abaite, as he dives deep into strategies, insights, and real-life stories that will help you make smarter choices for a happier, more successful life. Don't miss out. Stay connected with us. Tune in to the Connected Minds Podcast, where growth begins with a great conversation. Available now on all major platforms.
Same day as they picked up our brother Ken by the ICE people. Now, she was picked up in Las Vegas and kept in a detention center in the Nevada state. And our brother Ken was picked up in Virginia, in Maryland, Virginia. Okay, so I couldn't confirm at the time about Mrs. Tamakloe's case because it was hearsay. Somebody called me to say that she's been picked up. And I said, well, until I get concrete evidence where she's being kept and confirmed by the authorities, I wasn't going to issue a statement. It was only yesterday that the confirmation came as to where she's being kept. And I've given you the address, of the detention center in the Nevada area. So that is all the facts that I have available.
Have you visited her yet?
No, I haven't.
Do I still have Victor Smith with me? Mr. Smith, I understand that you have muted your microphone. You may have to unmute for us to hear you clearly. You tell me that you haven't visited her yet. What immediate steps did you take when you received that confirmation from the U.S.?
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear now.
Okay. So, you want me to start the whole thing again, or you are hearing me?
It. So you tell me that you haven't visited her yet, right? I'm wondering what immediate steps you took. Immediately you received that information from the U.S. confirming her detention.
That was yesterday. I got the confirmation only yesterday. Now, the U.S. Marshals did the arrest of our sister, and the ICE did the arrest of Ken. That was in Maryland. So that ICE confirmed to us the very next day, that was the 7th, and I put out a statement. And I'd heard the same day from the grapevine that our sister had been picked up. But I wasn't getting the information as to who picked her up and where she was. And I wasn't going to issue a statement at the time. So yesterday, we were lucky to get the confirmation through the whole authority system and the security system in the U.S., confirming exactly where she was being kept with the address and everything given to us. And that's when I issued my statement yesterday.
But we've just been doing our checks, and we see that Sedina Tamakloe is not listed at the Nevada Detention Centre as stated by Ghana's embassy in the U.S. Based on your checks,
Who published that? Who's the person?
We're seeing an online story credited to Asase Radio, and they say that the reports that a detention facility where Sedina is kept, as stated in the embassy statement, cannot be found on the website of the Nevada Detention Centre.
What you're saying is that Asase have issued their own counter statement, but that is Asase Radio's, I mean, I don't know where they're coming from, where they want to muddy the waters. They actually tried to speak to me earlier on. I would have spoken to them, but for this kind of mischief, to try and muddy waters, I have gotten it from official sources where this lady is being kept, and that she's going to go to court on the 21st.
21st. You said she was arrested by the U.S. Marshals. Was this directly triggered by Ghana's extradition request? Or were there any parallel U.S. immigration or criminal considerations involved?
Let me say that U.S. Marshals are authorized by the Department of Justice in the U.S. system to effect arrest. The Marshals were authorized by the Department of Justice. Now, that one has nothing to do with, if you like, immigration as, ICE would do. ICE moving as the immigration, unit. Okay? So the U.S. Marshals, different from the ICE people. Both are security agencies.
And is she being held strictly for extradition purposes, or are there other legal issues affecting her detention?
That is extradition purposes. There was mention of an extradition request as far back as July of 2024. That is the information I have. So that is the legal request that was acted upon by the U.S. Marshals.
But why is she being picked up now, even though that request was put in as far back as the year 2024? What is triggering this now?
Why do you want to ask me this question? I don't work with the Department of Justice in the U.S. system. They take their time to prepare their document. If you remember, the Attorney General, in one of his press interactions recently, I think maybe as recent as last November or early December with the media, he did indicate that the authorities in the U.S. had informed him that they were almost finished with that request, all the documentation and the preparation for granting that request of extradition of Mrs. Tamakloe. So the coincidence is what I don't know how it happened, but the extradition of 2024 and then a more recent one for our brother Ken happened around the same time. The arrests were done on the same day. Ken would face the judge on the 20th, and Mrs. Tamakloe will face the judge on the 21st.
Well, this is quite coincidental that is happening almost at the same time. Is there any underground negotiation with the U.S. that you are fronting that is leading to these efforts that we're seeing now?
I don't think so. There's a common denominator is Ghana. They are both Ghanaians. So it is possible the Department of Justice decided to act around this time on the Ghana request.
There's no underground negotiation ongoing currently as we speak.
Well, I don't know from the Attorney General's angle, because he's dealing with the FBI as well. From Ghana, he's dealing with the Department of Justice and the FBI.
But what
mine is to just inform.
Oh, I see. And what legal hurdles remain even before she can return to Ghana? Realistically, how long could the process take? Going to court and getting a verdict?
You go to court, you make your case why you think you should not be extradited, and if you don't convince the judge, you are immediately removed from the country.
And if she decides to contest this extradition, what option does she have under the U.S. law? And how do you plan to maneuver it and counter it?
Who, me?
The Ghana representative in court.
We're not supposed to go to court. We don't go to court. We go to, if the Ghanaian is in trouble with the law, we visit to just find out if they are being taken good care of health-wise and other things. That's all we do.
So there will be no representative throughout the legal proceeding in court from Ghana, even to observe? If they're not allowing us to visit people at this point in time, we had wanted to. My officer is still trying to see if we can go to Sedina. Now, if they give us a chance, we will probably talk to her about what she wants done. She wants a judge, a lawyer, legal representation. If she doesn't have what it takes to get one, probably we'll secure one for her. But we don't know it as we speak now. Now we know where she is. We're going to make an attempt to see if we can speak to her and ask her exactly what she wants done for her, if it's within our means to do it. But then, so far, based on your initial checks and digging, will they grant you this permission to engage her at least?
To engage her?
Yes.
So the Nevada one, you couldn't visit her. I think you can only do either a video call or something like that. We're looking at all the options if we can engage her. You remember that in the case of our brother Ken, an attempt was made to visit. The ICE people agreed with me, but then eventually, nearer the time, he decided that he didn't want to see us. So that was the end of the story there. So we don't know what Ken wants done for him as a representative of our country here. Certainly now we are trying to reach her. If we can get to speak to her, we would ask her what she wants us to do for her, if it's within our means to do that.
And has Ghana submitted all the required documentation, at least, all the court records, just to aid the technical delays?
Let me say that I did not cite Sedina Tamakloe's extradition documents. I have not cited this. But I cited Ken's one, which came through my office during my tenure. So it is possible, same documentation from the Attorney General's department, compile the whole documentation before it is sent through our mission to the Department of Justice to make that request. I didn't cite Sedina's, but I presume it's the same type of documentation. I cited Ken's one, all right, and then submitted it to the Department of Justice.
And this case is most likely to drag on for months, if not years. In hindsight,
Drag on where?
Drag on in court, especially if she's contesting an extradition as well as that of Ken Ofori-Atta. We are told that he has a crack team of legal backing, and they're fighting this tooth and nail. But I'm just wondering, on the diplomatic front, legally, are there anything that you could do to aid the process?
If you asked me what advice I would give to our two brethren who have these issues, Ken and the lady was Mrs. Tamakloe, I would advise that they should come to Ghana and let us deal with this matter. Because you cannot continue running away from your own country. That's my opinion. That's my personal advice to anybody. And looking at the way that things are going in this country at the moment, the U.S. and the direction that the president and his team, the government is going, your chances of winning a court case, especially when it comes to extradition, with all the documentation provided, and the chances of winning or delaying the process are very slim. Be very frank with you, very slim. The judges will listen and then they make a pronouncement. And the chances of you succeeding to remain are very slim. I can tell you that.
And then once she's extradited, will she be taken directly into prison custody, or are there additional legal processes that she must go through in Ghana?
Unfortunately, I'm not a lawyer. But there's a due process. And once they leave this country, we will inform the Attorney General and the security personnel on the instructions from the Attorney General will do what has to be done by law.
And should Ghanaians expect her return at least within weeks or months?
I suspect weeks, within weeks. I mean, the court day, 20th for Ken and 21st for Mrs. Tamakloe, I can almost certainly suspect that it will happen immediately. So we're talking weeks more than months, in my opinion.
And will your embassy at least commit to providing regular public updates so that this case remains in the public space and do not fade away?
That's exactly what I've done. Once I'm able to get them, to come up to meet the system in Ghana, I've done my bit, and it's out of my jurisdiction.
And can you assure us that the extradition will not collapse due to technicalities or diplomatic delays?
I'm not in a position to say that, except that a judge will make that pronouncement on the day they come to court.
You've also been making some assurances for Ghanaians living in the U.S. What triggered that statement you put out when you visited the senator earlier?
Which senator?
You went to the Pennsylvania state senator and you mentioned negotiating to improve the lives of Ghanaian youth.
No, I didn't go to see a senator.
Okay.
I went to a detention center.
Okay.
And I spoke to the Ghanaians there.
Okay.
And I assured them, because it looks as if there's a group of Ghanaians who are trying to enter into America through unapproved routes without documentation, and the way the ICE people are going about arresting them, I find it humiliating. So my advice to them was to, look, there are opportunities and you can build your life in Ghana, under the current administration. We are working hard to keep our own. We are trying to encourage more Ghanaians to invest in Ghana, those who have the wherewithal. And we're looking for foreign direct investments so we can build our country, create jobs and opportunities, well-paid jobs for our youth in our country. That's what I'm looking at. That's my preaching, and it has to be so. We cannot encourage our people to leave our country in droves to go and eventually be arrested in a rough manner as we see on the streets in America now. That's my advice and my candid, personal, heartfelt advice to the young people of Ghana. Don't get out of our country. Let's help build our country.
And are there any specific programs to aid this or initiatives that you're pursuing to achieve this advice you're giving out to the young people?
Well, I'm saying that I'm out here whipping up interest in Ghana of the opportunities that exist in Ghana for investors to come to Ghana, to partner in a strategic manner with Ghanaians, skilled Ghanaians here. If that will make the investor comfortable because they know the culture, the way they do business here. If they can partner them to come to Ghana to create jobs and opportunities for our young people to also be gainfully employed and remunerated better than maybe they are getting paid for the job they do, maybe they'll be able to build their families and their lives in Ghana, and Ghana will become better than we have it at this point in time. And I assure them that if you make life in Ghana and you're successful and you get paid well, you never know, you'll be able to travel abroad as a tourist to come to the UK or the US or the developed nations and go back home and do your work and build your lives. That was the advice I was giving to the young people I met in the detention center and elsewhere.
And just before I let you go, how many Ghanaians are in detention center? What are their current state based on your visit?
Well, the detention center where I visited, there were 11 Ghanaians, 1 lady, and 10 guys. In total, under ICE arrest, we have a figure at the last count, it was 193 Ghanaians. And I think they keep, deporting them as and when they meet the judge and they don't have much of a case, and then there's a ruling, they are taken out, on the next available arrangement.
But health-wise, are they okay? Are they kept in a safe place?
Oh, yeah. I saw it myself. I went to as far as the dormitories where they were being kept. I went to the medical facilities for them. Very clean environment. They did not complain about any health issues. They just were not happy, of course, being in a cell, like a prison, they didn't like it. But they're coming illegally through unapproved routes, and then they got caught up with the law. There isn't much we can do for them.
Thank you so much, Victor Smith. He is ambassador to the United States. We appreciate your time here on The Pulse.